Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. The incoming boss of the AFL has been grilled on who knew what and when, and at which point the stadium became a condition for a Tasmanian licence. He's fronted a parliamentary committee in Hobart looking into the processes which led to the stadium decision, revealing the state knew 18 months ago the stadium was a precondition of getting our own team.
Answers over when the stadium became linked to our AFL bid have been hard to come by, but CEO-elect Andrew Dillon was more forthcoming.
Mr Dillon, are you saying that the stadium became a condition of the licence in December 2021?
It was a precondition to bring the application for the licence to the Commission and the 18 AFL clubs.
Also revealing the state put Macquarie Point on the table in winter last year. Just last September, the Premier told Parliament
the stadium was not part of the bid, Mr Speaker.
It's always been made very clear by our Premier Jeremy Rockcliffe and our state government that without the stadium we do not have a team.
In the wake of Dillon's comments, the state government's arguing when the AFL demanded a stadium and when we agreed to build it are two different points. But that hasn't satisfied opposition parties.
But it is very clear that the stadium was a precondition of the AFL licence from the very beginning.
You had a united parliament behind the deal with the Premier saying that it didn't include a stadium. But it did.
Today, the committee also heard from Tasport's CEO Anthony Donald.
I see that as a fundamental, that we work collaboratively with all of our neighbours.
Tasports is confident its working port won't be affected by the build, but it appears there's no longer room here at Mac Point for one major development.
Well, the concept plans that I think we've all seen indicate that there's no specific Antarctic science buildings in the footprint.
We are really committed to seeing an Antarctic precinct in southern Tasmania. It's a really exciting project.
A Macquarie Point Development Corporation spokesperson said a draft precinct plan will include an Antarctic and science hub. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, 9 people are headed for court after around 24 firearms were confiscated during 5 weeks of raids across northern Tasmania. The latest sting will see a 52-year-old punch bowl man and a 36-year-old from Sidmouth, known to each other, face firearms, drug and family violence charges.
There is a risk posed by having these firearms in the community. However, we understand that risk and that's why we're doing the work we can to remove it. And we need the community to work with us. So any information that can be provided about locations, we'd relish and we act on it.
Ammunition has also been seized. Tasmania has a permanent amnesty for anyone who wants to hand in their firearms. Cash is being made available to farmers to support revegetation and sustainable practices. The Primary Industries Minister announcing nearly $500,000 in Landcare grant funding aimed at land management, waterway conservation and carbon farming initiatives.
What this grant has the capacity to do is trigger opportunities for farmers to step in and think about responses that they want to make to landscape management.
The Landcare Tasmania website has more details for those looking to apply. Richie Port will swap the Tour de France for the gruelling gravel tracks of the state's northeast. The Tasmanian Star preparing to tackle the 106-kilometre journey as part of the third Devil's Cardigan.
It's totally, chalk and cheese to what I was used to, but, at the same time, for me, it's more about participation, not racing, but I am a little bit nervous.
More than 400 riders are expected to take on the challenging course. It forms part of this year's National Championships for gravel cycling.
We've got a very strong Tassie contingent, but a lot of people are travelling from all around the country and even from America for their big day.
Riders will leave from Derby next Saturday. Dark Mofo is preparing for a bumper couple of days with tens of thousands of patrons expected to enjoy the festival. Among this weekend's feature events, a controversial performance exploring our relationship with life and death.
Taking a ride around the concept of life and death. This is as much as we can show on TV about what's coming to My State Bank Arena this weekend. A divine comedy explores our understanding of the afterlife and heaven and hell.
This is a bit of a paradox, like what hell might be for one can be heaven for the other.
It's massive. The freight budget made me laugh.
Inspired by Dante's epic poem, The Divine Comedy, audiences will be challenged. The adults-only event, combining music with motorbikes, stunts, dancing, nudity and even taxidermy.
It's very busy with the negotiation of life and death. They will at times hold their breath. They can expect that probably some things are going to be funny if they relax a little bit.
The Austrian choreographer is famous for her confronting and controversial pieces. While explicit, those involved say it's also timely in the wake of the COVID pandemic.
We need to form and find peace with death as a concept and as a reality.
I don't need to be a Catholic or have this relation to religion or even to these binaries.
It's one of dozens of items set to bring Hobart alive during the weekend. Night Mass is back, along with the final weekend of Winterfeast. It also serves as a final chance for people to purge their fears at Dark Park, ahead of the traditional procession and burning of the Ogga Ogga on Sunday evening. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Young astronauts can get a taste of space with Questacon touching down at Launceston's QV Mag. The Australia in Space exhibition celebrates our nation's history with the final frontier and comes complete with an interactive Mars rover.
Using the robotic arm, the exact robotic arm that they use on the Mars rover, you go and discover all the different elements.
It's a hands-on experience for you to actually engage, see the stories.
The exhibition opens tomorrow and remains at the museum until October. More Tasmanians have joined together taking a stand against elder abuse. Dozens taking to the streets of Launceston today following similar marches held across the state yesterday. A sea of purple filling the CBD, all uniting in their calls to protect some of the Tasmania's most vulnerable.
It's important that we shine a light on the scourge of our community, which is elder abuse, and it's really a hidden pandemic of many regards.
It's really important for the city and its wider communities to take a stand against elder abuse and look at how they can implement things like social policies.
Support is available on the Tasmanian Elder Abuse Hotline. Well, Cricket Tasmania is making a play in the northern suburbs of Hobart through a pilot program involving the local cricket club. Glenorchy cricket captain Josh Hartill has been appointed as the inaugural Northern Suburbs Ambassador. He'll deliver coaching clinics in local schools and will also help identify rising stars through the RecLink Community Series.
Give them some cricket skills, hopefully do a bit of a talent ID, make them really enjoy cricket.
We've identified that this area, there's 50,000 population, so we need to make sure that we're accessing these people.
The clinics will begin in August ahead of the new cricket season. The bells are tolling for the 150th year at one of Tasmania's oldest Catholic schools. Students and staff at Sacred Heart taking heart in their history and dragging out garb from yesteryear.
Winding back the clock.
It feels amazing, actually. You get to learn all the rich history and all the great stuff.
Sacred Heart pupils running at the chance to step back in time, dressing up to catch a glimpse of what life was like when the gates first opened in 1873.
So everyone's dressed up as 150 years ago. It is phenomenal to see all of us wearing these amazing clothing.
The students proud to commemorate those who've come before them.
It's very special for our school because 150 years ago our school started out as a Catholic school, which is important so the kids that walked into our school know God loves them.
It feels so amazing to go to such a historical school and to celebrate such an amazing event.
Taking the opportunity to enjoy all the games and old-fashioned fun. Since being founded by President Hayton's sisters, the school has undergone many changes, but the sense of community has remained the same.
People get drawn to a community when they're treated with respect and with love, and that's one of the things I'm super proud of, is that no matter who you are in our school community, everybody should be treated with massive respect.
Committed to keeping the legacy alive, Victoria Easto, 7 Tasmania News.
In the TSL, Clarence's fringe players are being challenged to make the most of their opportunities. The Roos face North Launceston in a crunch clash tomorrow. Clarence has a 2-game buffer on North Hobart and Lauderdale, but that could change depending on the weekend's results. Missing a number of key players through injury, the coach says those selected have a chance to prove themselves.
Play the role, grab their opportunity where they can, and make it hard for coaches, for us to, leave them out of the side.
First bounce is at Blunston Arena at 1:30 p.m. The Collingwood Magpies have touched down in Launceston ahead of the club's last game in Super Netball. Players are taking to the court for their final training session before the farewell game against the West Coast Fever tomorrow night. It's a bittersweet match for co-captain Ash Brazel, who will also call time on her domestic netball career.
It's not ideal a way to retire when you're going out with the team as well, but I think for me personally, I've been here from day one. So I played the first game and played the last game for Collingwood, so I feel really privileged.
Only a handful of tickets remain. The Silverdome is expecting a sellout for the Magpies send-off. Stuart McSwain's time as the national and Oceania 1500 metres record holder is over. Commonwealth Games gold medalist Ollie Hoare shaved 0.1 of a second off the time, clocking 3 minutes 29.41 seconds at the Diamond League in Norway. Hoare and the King Island runner are the only 2 Australians to break the 3-minute 30 barrier. Taruna is hoping to kickstart its Women's Super League season this weekend. After 8 straight losses, the club scored its first points of the season in a 1-1 draw with Devonport a fortnight ago. Facing Kingborough this round, one of their senior players says the team is starting to build confidence in their abilities.
We're doing a lot of team building stuff as well, which I think helps with on the field, and I think, you're just going to see more from us.
Kick-off is at 2 p.m. tomorrow at Kingston. And with the Ashes starting tonight, our Friday flashback is to when Tasmania's own Ricky Ponting reached his first Test 100 against the old enemy on English soil. After fighting his way into the final 11, Ponting made the 1997 Ashes tour his own.
In 1997, Aussie selectors took a punt on Ponting, which was only fitting.
I don't mind a bit of a punt either, so me and Mark Wall might find ourselves in the local TAB.
The gamble paid off. After scoring a century against Glamorgan in the touring side, Ponting was picked to replace Michael Bevan for the 4th Ashes Test at Headingley. What followed was a smattering of boundaries. The English fielders could only lunge in vain at the methodical stroke play, typifying Ponting's innings, before the boy from Mowbray landed the single to bring up a maiden Test century.
That's his 100. Quick single taken.
Cheers came from the stands before a skyward smack ended his innings on 127 and a 268-run partnership with Matthew Elliott.
And that's the end of a tremendous knock from Ricky Ponting.
Back home, his proud parents read every word of the then 22-year-old's achievement.
That's one of the best innings I've seen him play. I mean, he was very selective in the shots that he picked to hit.
From there, the Aussies ripped the 4th Test out of English hands.
In the air, that's out, that's a dreadful shot.
Paul Rifle took 5 for 49 in the second innings to see the Aussies win the match by an innings and 61 runs. But the party really started after the 5th Test at Nottingham, where the Aussies won a record 5th Ashes series in a row.
The champagne flowing a day earlier than expected.
Warne famously danced with the middle stump, and Tasmania's newest Test century maker returned home a happy man.
Couldn't have been much better.
Maybe we'll unearth the next Ashes champion from tonight. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
Good evening. Hobart, a mild 19 degrees today. Launceston, Devonport and Burnie, all 16. Friendly beaches, Grove and Ouse, all 18. The Islands, Smithton, St Helens and Strawn, all 17. Maria Island, 16 and just 8 degrees for Lyweenie. The satellite shows scattered cloud, thicker in the north, covering the state. Cloud associated with a cold front extends from a complex low system in the Southern Ocean. The front is clipping the southern coastline of WA as it approaches the coastal regions of SA and Tasmania. The rest of the country, however, is mostly cloud-free. Tomorrow, a cold front moves near the coastline of SA as it approaches the state. A trough moves over the southern coastline of WA. A ridge of high pressure extends over most of the country. Northwesterly 20 to 30 knots, reaching 25 to 30 knots in the west and north. West to northwesterly 20 to 30 knots in the afternoon and in the evening. With swells in the west and south, westerly 5 to 7 metres there, and in the north, westerly 2 to 3 metres. A severe weather warning has been issued for damaging winds in western upper Derwent Valley, east coast, central plateau and parts of southeast and the Midland forecast districts. A gale warning is in place for the entirety of the state tomorrow. A strong wind warning for the Derwent Estuary, Frederick, Henry and Norfolk Bay, Storm Bay, the Channel, Central Plateau Lakes, Southwest Lakes and Bank Strait and Franklin Sound. Tomorrow, Hobart winds partly cloudy 17, Medina showers increasing, a late shower or two for Oatlands. Launceston 16, similar conditions for Devonport, Lywenny expecting just a top of 8 degrees. Burnie, Strawn and Marrawar windy with increasing showers, all 15. And looking towards the east, St Helens and Orford 16, 17's the top for Swansea. Now Sunday we can expect showers about the north and west extending statewide in the evening with possible thunderstorms and hail about the west and northwest with snow falling to 800 metres in the late west. Monday, showers more frequent about the west and northeast, possible thunderstorms about the west coast, possible small hail, snow falling to 400 metres. And on Tuesday, showers mainly about the west and elevated parts of the north with possible hail, snow falling to 600 metres. To the mainland tomorrow, Broome, mostly sunny, 31 degrees. Alice Springs, partly cloudy. A shower or two for Adelaide, and Canberra can expect a morning frost. Currently, Hobart 13, mostly clear. Launceston 13, partly cloudy. 14 and windy in Devonport. Now, for those of you embracing the Dark Mofo festivities this weekend, don't forget to pack your brolly.
That is all we have time for tonight. Take care over the weekend, and don't forget you can join Louise and the team on Saturday and Sunday. For now though, it's good night.